What we're talking about tonight is just highlighting a few things that we get to do on this journey, all right, and highlighting it for everyone that is joining us online as well. And then diving into building a personal brand, because building has, for example, you cannot build without calculating the price. You cannot build without having land, okay? So we're just going to give that preamble before we even dive into it. Now, part of the things that we do in this class is speaking, is coaching, and leading. Those are the core things, okay? And now when you ask me that, but where is business? Where is personal branding? Where is all these things? All these things fall under these core things: speaking, coaching, and leading. And when we talk about leading, we talk about even self-leadership. And everyone is a leader in their own category, right? But do you realize that we have to lead ourselves in order to achieve the goals that we need to achieve? We have to mobilize ourselves, to coordinate ourselves, to remind ourselves, okay? So the aspect of self-leadership, to be able to hold yourself accountable, to be able to set goals, to be able to be sober, to be present, to be mindful, to be thoughtful, all that is self-leadership that is going to get you to attaining the goals that you want to be able to attain. So in this case, that is business growth. In this case, that is being a world-class speaker. In this case, is monetizing your business and having it grow and blossom and, you know, and flourish. So in this case, that means we are going to lead ourselves, all right? Apart from me holding your hand, we are going to lead ourselves to those goals. And that is where sometimes self-sabotage comes in, that we fail to lead ourselves. Just like it is hard to lead other people. Have you noticed that it is hard to lead people? Sometimes they become like goats. You're taking them to the greener pastures, they get to the rock and they show you they are standing still. They're like, no, we are not going. But they are hungry. They want to feed. You see the green pastures, but they're like, no, we want to stay on the rock. We are not going. And they will stay and you try to pull until you're like, you know what, let me just leave these animals. Now, when it comes to human beings, now just remember, a human being can speak back. A human being has a brain. A human being has distractions that are sweet. Yeah? So when someone is being distracted by something and yet you want them to be in another thing, just imagine that, for example, someone has a marriage, okay, and they're being distracted by an affair. And you're telling them, be sober, you know, coordinate yourself, come back on track. And they're like, but yeah, it is sweet. It is sweet, yeah? And before you know it, that when you say, you know what, it's be like, you're like, nah, yeah, you leave. You know, everything that happens under the table will always come back. You're like, you get it? So now, when the aspect of self-leadership is where the self-sabotage comes in for so many of us that want to build world-class businesses, that we are not just building national businesses and national brands, we are building international, global brands that are going to impact so many people, and not just impact, transform, but they are going to earn money in all currencies, okay? Isn't it sweet, guys? It's sweet to earn money in shillings. Before you know it, your dollar account is also going crazy. Before you know it, I mean, it's nice. Isn't it nice? I think it's nice. But that is only possible if you can be able to lead yourself, remind yourself, coordinate yourself. And definitely you cannot do that without speaking. The act of speaking, there is speaking to the people and there is also speaking to yourself. There is also coaching other people and there is aspect of self-coaching, okay? You're like, you know what, let's dissect this problem. You sit with yourself and let's dissect what is causing us this procrastination, you know? The only problem is you will actually come up with the right answers and you will never follow that formula. You will look at yourself and you'll be like, maybe there is, let me tell you, procrastination is the same. Whether it is in UK, US, where it is the same. Whether it is with the world CEOs and multi-billionaire company founders and what, and you, it is the same. How you tackle it, how you overcome it, it is the same. So I just wanted us to do this and to highlight on the aspect of self-leadership. But again, we cannot lead ourselves without self-awareness. Self-awareness helps you to influence you, because willpower alone cannot work. It cannot just get you to your goal. It's not about the strength, sometimes it is the strategy. Because if it was about the will, all of us would have hit all our goals. Because we are willing, aren't we? We are. So if it was about the will, that means we would have gotten there. Why do we need to influence ourselves just like influencers influence us? Yeah, is to be able to remind ourselves to stay on course. And when we are self-aware, then we can be able to actually do that. So when it comes to this journey of purpose, one thing that people never talk about, and one thing that I've discovered that is very crucial, is actually having a skill. Some of us want to have the anointing, to speak to people, to do whatever it is, but you realize that you can never do everything else without the skill. Yes, you can. Do you know that people can be anointed and incoherent? Someone is anointed, they are preaching or they are speaking, and they ask you, but what did they talk about? Like things did not make meaning, but they spoke, yeah? And it's not that they are not gifted, they are gifted, but they did not develop their gift, yeah, in order to deploy it the right way. So that means we need to be able to develop whatever is inside of us if we are going to build the brands, because we don't build brands on nothing. We build brands on developed purpose, okay? We build brands on developed purpose. So I want us to be very, very, very serious when it comes to skill, when it comes to strategy about how to achieve the things that we need to be able to achieve. All right? And then I want us to know that when it comes to self-awareness, we have 4 different things that we are totally unique with each other. Because when it comes to personal branding or building your personal brand, it highlights your differences, all right? So number 1 of those things is your unique design. Your unique design, because we must be able to execute, and in order to execute, we all execute differently. So your unique design, people will criticize things about themselves that they did not make, that only God made. If you say that I'm an introvert, there is an advantage in you being an introvert. If you say that you speak a lot, there is an advantage in you speaking a lot. Have you seen people that are too patient? I've seen people that sell clothes that are too patient, that even when you don't buy, they will show you like 100. They will be like, no, but you try this on as well. But you try this on. And you're like, nayo makazitakoa. And in your heart of hearts, you know, either you're not going to buy or you're just going to buy one. But they are showing you 100 things. Now, that patience is also, it is a design that is unique to them. That if they gave you to do that, you would not be able to actually do it. So you realize that even our niches are unique designs. That someone will tell you that, by the way, if you ever give me a supermarket, just know we are going to eat it and eat it and eat it, and money will disappear and I will never know where it went. There are people who can never manage either a business. You're giving them a salon. They will sit and look cute, but following up and implementing and doing all those things, but they will tell you they can manage something else. Maybe farming, yeah? And they will tell you, by the way, I'm very passionate about that and I can follow through about that. So we have unique designs, and I want you to be able to understand yourself and how uniquely you are, all right? And then to know how life has shaped us and how God has shaped us. Life shapes us differently. And then when life shapes you differently, for example, the kind of background I come from, my history has shaped me in a way that it has made me resilient, that even when it comes to business, I am self-leading, I am self-reminding, because I know where I come from and I do not want to go back there. So that means environment has shaped me in a way that is making me resilient to go on. All right? So you also look at how the environment has shaped you, the people close to you have shaped you, and the outcomes of that and how it's actually helping. And then we have unique desires. Yeah? We have the unique design, and then we have unique desires. All of us, we desire things that are totally different. You can walk into a supermarket, and for you, you think maybe clothes are more important to you, but to another person, makeup is more important. To another person, the best thing they will do is go to kitchenware and just look at everything and just, oh my God, that frying pan, I will come back for it. And in your heart of hearts, you're like, hey. Like of all things, you're thinking about a blender. Of all things you're thinking about, but the other person is like, afira ku eye pencil. Yeah? Yeah, afira ku powder over lipstick. So we have unique desires. Even when it comes, by the way, to building brands, sometimes we lie to ourselves, and I hit this reality after training like 3 cohorts, that what I desire for my mentees is not necessarily what they desire for themselves. Now I had to realign and know that I can only take the donkey to the water, but I cannot force the donkey to drink the water. There is someone who was asking me to give them prices. They are going to train this team for 2 weeks. And so I asked her, send me everything that you think you're going to train on, and the duration, and, you know, and the criteria and everything. And so she was asking me about pricing. So now, when I looked at everything, if it were me charging, I am actually charging 40 millions for that training. And I know that anywhere in Kampala, I would get the 40 millions for the 2 weeks training. Guess what they were charging? 1.5. But of course, yeah, I wouldn't discourage them. Yeah, I was like, you know what? If that is what you think, and that we are going to talk about in personal branding, the value you see in yourself is the value you sell. You cannot sell more than the value you believe to have. Otherwise, you will call yourself a fraudster. You know, when you call yourself a fraudster, when you become an imposter, when you feel like, you know what, I think I'm piseo, I think nsuseo wenandi komye. So, do you see how people, because of lack of confidence in their brands and how they have positioned their brands, they can be able to charge very little money. So that means we have different dreams, and the materializing of that dreams is quite different. And then we have unique destinies. Yeah? Unique destinies. What do you want people to say when you are gone? What do you want them to say? Do you want them to say you changed their life? Do you want them to say that if it wasn't for so and so? What do you want? Can you live your life right now as you would want anyone to refer to you? Can you live your life right now? Just ask yourself, by staying in bed, by not creating content, by not showing up, are you impacting anyone's life? Or are you actually creating? Because part of creating a brand is controlling the narrative. Controlling the narrative. Because you are the brand, you are the voice, you are the face, you are the purpose, and you are the energy. Sometimes we think personal brand is a foreign element. No, it is you. But how we perceive you, and whether you have the capacity to control the narrative with the energy that you exude, with the self-belief, okay? And understanding exactly what you need to be able to put out there, all right? So, when it comes to destiny, at least we are getting that out of the way. We need to be able to understand who do we want to, or how do we want to be remembered. We all have different things. People say different things. She had a lot of potential. Yeah? She had a lot of potential. Never come out. You had a lot of potential. That means they saw you wasting your potential. Yeah? Sometimes, even just your husband, your boyfriend, your fiancé, the people in your life, you have a lot of potential. You have a lot of potential. Can you ever sit down and ask myself, where is this potential? Ask the people that are telling you have potential. What is the potential that you're seeing in me? That is part of self-awareness, right? And they're like, you know what? Your organizational skills, as in any company will be willing to pay for those organizational skills. Some of us are selling ourselves short because we don't know what we have, all right? So you are the face, just like we said. Let's switch into the branding. You are the face, you are the brand, you are the purpose, you are the energy. So stop hiding. Stop hiding. If you don't know who you really are, according to what we've talked about, the destinies, the desire, the dreams, and, you know, and everything else, that means you are going to shrink yourself and you're going to hide, and yet you have something very important. And then we all don't have the same things. So I don't want us to copy and paste how others are building their brands, what they are measuring in, who they are impacting, and all that. I want us to stand on my own and define what the future looks for us, okay? Are you building a company brand? Are you building a personal brand? I would want anyone to just, by show of hands, tell me, who is building a company brand here? You're building a company brand? Are you, okay, who is building a personal brand? We are all building a personal brand, okay? Because then we have to be very clear from the beginning that we are putting all our energies in building this, in building us, the name, the perception. I think we've talked about it when we talked about the 5 Ps, right? The purpose that we have that is personal, the positioning that we have that is personal, the personality that we have that is us, the promotion that we have that is through the content that we deliver and the value that we deliver, and the perception that we create. That is how we control the narrative, all right? So for those that don't have the 5 Ps to personal branding, that is purpose. Let's say it together. Purpose, positioning, personality, promotion, and perception, okay? So now you define and say that according to me, this is a personal brand. And we say that people follow or buy from people. So even if you are creating a company brand, okay, that means at the forefront there should be a personal brand that people can trust, that can show integrity, because we say that a brand equals to reach and reputation. Who said that? That means you were in class, yeah? Reach and reputation. Because when it comes to reach, we have the paid reach, we have the organic reach, we have the social media platforms, we have the one-on-one, we have the referrals, as in how many people are we reaching, okay? That is through our content. That is through the places that we go to. That is part of personal brand. So it is reach and reputation. Do you have the integrity that what you promised is what you delivered? If you promise that, yes, you are a wife coach, a corporate wife coach, when a corporate wife comes before you, do they go saying, oh my goodness, that woman, yeah? It's like she knows my life in, out. It's like she knew what I must do in order to achieve what kind of results. Do you get that? That means when you were putting out the posts and saying that, guys, I'm open to collaboration, and in case you need a one-on-one or you need a group coaching or you need this and this, reach out to me. You put your number. That means you've thrown a promise out there. Now, when someone gets in touch with you and you start hesitating, you're like, what do you need? And you're like, I'm going through some, phase in my marriage and stuff like that. Things are not balancing and, I'm overwhelmed and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, you wait. I'll get back to you. Let me first make some small research and then I will come back to you. I will come back to you. Or there are people who are overly confident, right? They're like, I'm going to show up. And then you show up. And then they tell you there are problems. But while you're looking at them, your mind is wondering, what am I going to tell them? What am I going to say? And then, by the way, while you are thinking that, they can see through you. They can see through you. They can see you are wondering. You are flabbergasted. They're like, hey, what's going to happen here? And all of a sudden, sometimes they will even make it easy for you. They'll be like, maybe we can have a next session, but when they are not going to come back. Why? Because sometimes you'll ask them to repeat themselves, and then after that you will start fumbling because you think you must be able to give them solutions. And I think I said it here, that as a coach, you are not supposed to know everything in the world. Your duty is to facilitate their transformation, to work with them. Okay? They have the answers. You think they don't? In order to avoid the overwhelm, the same housewife, the same corporate wife, when you ask them, how many things do you do in a day? Yeah? And then I took on a church project. And then when they called us for VD's money, they asked for people who would volunteer, and I was there. So why do you find the need to go everywhere, overcommitting yourself and spreading so thin? But that is how I have done it, and that is how in our home we used to do it. That means there is a pattern that they must be able to break. So they have highlighted it for you, right? So do you understand that when you define your personal brand and know how to create the perception and know how to position yourself and what your purpose is and you clarify it, then everything else becomes simple. Everything else becomes doable. All right? So in terms of personal brands that precede company brands, it's like Apple and Steve Jobs, right? I think we got to know about Steve Jobs more than Apple, and Apple was like a shadow to Steve Jobs. And there are so many people that have created companies like that, like Jordan and Nike. So many of us know Jordan, some of us know Nike, but there is a person that was more like a flag bearer out there. Who doesn't know Slivia when it comes to MTN? That ever since the CEO-ship changed hands to Slivia, there is a way she has just taken Uganda by a storm. Last week she was in Johannesburg receiving a medal, an African medal for CEOs, for coming up on top of the list of all African CEOs. But why? She has created a personal brand. Any day, anytime, you're going to find her on social media. Whether they have a charity event, whether they are in the market doing something, whether she's in the gym working out, whether she has controlled her narrative, that I just don't want you to see me as a woman CEO. I want you to see every side of my life, that I have children, that I work out, that I love my team, that I actually collaborate with my team, that I'm a free-spirited woman. She has controlled her narrative, and people love her for that. Meanwhile, some of us are busy hiding under the table. We are like, what? Chicken. Like, but you know, you come on camera and speak. This week you will be pumped up and you will put up and, you know, like a challenge of some sorts, and then you will come on for a week and then you disappear for a month. We don't know where you are. We don't know what you're doing. We don't know what. And then after you're like, I'm just demotivated. I'm not picking up the motivation. Clearly, that is very normal. If everyone in this world faces that. But when you are in control of your narrative, you do not want anyone to tell your story. You do not want anyone to ask themselves, Gundi yalagawa. Because that means you have given them a chance to narrate your story, right? So I want us to be at the forefront of telling our stories. The person in the brand, okay? Yes, you have the business, but be the person in the brand. People buy from people. People trust people. Integrity is practiced between two people. Faithfulness is practiced between two people, and that is the reputation. So you can only build, a company does not build a reputation. It can only be built by people, okay, in that company. All right, so let's build with confidence. Let's build with a flow of creativity, with an abundance mindset. Because when you start at the beginning, when you start with, let me just try and see whether it will fail or not. You can never win at that, okay? So every day I showed up to just help that one person. And we're not supposed to help the whole world. We're supposed to help one person. So when you're speaking to the corporate wife, speak to one corporate wife. What do you want that corporate wife to know? Wake up every day with something to make her life better. One corporate wife. What we fail at is we start copying what others are doing, and then we are in a syndicate program of some sorts, and then some of us are on social media to please, because how do I look, you know? How will my clothes look? How will my surrounding look, you know? Because this is an impression game. When you start the building of the brand with impression, you have failed before you start. If you start with a pain that you want to solve, then you have started at a victory side. Okay, so let's go very quickly. Let's go to the 3x3 bio guide, because we have to be able to ask ourselves certain questions. Number one, and I asked some of you some of these questions, but I need you to give me answers and give me answers and give me answers until you even get goosebumps, okay? Who am I? And when it comes to you feeling like an imposter, the only solution to imposter syndrome is mastery. Do we all know what a brand story means? Okay, now when it comes to a brand story, okay, that is something that what you have gone through as a person, okay, the transformation that has happened, the lessons that you have learned out of it, Because how will we know? Because you control the story. You have lived the story. Now you are telling us the story. A brand story is a narrative that communicates who you are, what you stand for, why people should care about you. Why? Why should people care about the fact that I love talking about high conflict relationships? Because that's all I talk about. You will never find me saying, these are the 20 points in order to better your marriage. No. It will always be about toxic relationships, narcissistic relationships, high conflict. Where there is high conflict, find me there. I have a front row seat with popcorn. Yeah, that's why I deal with only 911 couples. If you come and you're still dilly-dallying, you know, he does not communicate well. I'm like, you know, I don't have the framework for you. Like, clearly, I don't have the framework for you. Come go bisibye, bidi mumotoka, and you come for us to talk. I'm like, yeah, now let's sit and talk. Yeah. I only respond to 911. If you don't have an emergency, don't come to me. Yeah. And so that is my only target. Why should people care about your story? Because the reason as to why people care about my story, and the reason as to why part of the people after hearing my story, and some of them hearing it for the first time when it broke even and when it went viral, now all of a sudden, they started paying more attention. They had seen me years. But I used to hint and hint and hint. When it came to hold my hand, I narrated the whole story. And everyone was like, ah, now when I listen to her, I have context. Do you understand that? I have context because I know where she comes from. Now, I thought she was extreme, but now I know she's not extreme. Right, because they know where the pain was coming from. And I talk about the transformation. And I talk about my own journey, the lessons that I have learned. Now people have the need to actually care. And now everyone thinks there is only one person in Kampala who can be able to solve your marital problems. Where is that coming from? It's I control the narrative of my own story. Some of us, we fear sharing our journeys. Why do you want to talk to corporate women? Yeah? If I don't know your story and why it actually matters. Have you ever gone through overwhelm? Have you ever gone through lack of sleep or depression or something that you think a corporate wife is going through? Because when you narrate your story and I see myself in that story, that magnetizes your brand that I'm tilting to you. I am gravitating to you because you know my problems. Yeah? And by the way, sometimes it's not so much about solving the problem. Sometimes it's just about knowing. If you know my problem, you're my friend, my friend. You're my buddy. Tugenda kubonga. Even if you don't solve my problem, let's talk about it until the cows come home. Eh? Let's talk about the problem, even if you don't solve it for me. But at least you understand when I say something, you will compliment. And you'll be like, you feel like this? Yeah, at some point I also felt like this. That Chivozi goes on. In this office, we call Chivozi after 5. After 5, they are in the boardroom. I guess after 5 has already convened. But the Chivozi that will be there is who is dating, who is doing what, who is, everyone knows about something that is happening. But people are drawn to stories and your personal story. So craft your brand story, okay? Your origin story, okay? Where you started from and why you do what you do. Why did you become a mindset coach? At what point did you feel stuck? Or did you encounter another person who was stuck? And how? Because sometimes the story does not have to be necessarily ours. Sometimes the story can be about another person. And so that causes a lasting change. And you're like, you know what? There is something has to change. Something has to change. And when you talk about that, then, I mean, people know why you do the things that you do. Otherwise, all of us will be wondering, yeah? You know, why? Why is she actually doing what she does? All right? And then your transformation. So your origin story, your transformation, the challenges, the experiences, the lessons that shaped you and all that. Because then that gives us your mission and the impact you want to create, your values and beliefs. Do you know that if you just created what I am talking about right now, your brand story, and just said it over and over and over again. You remember when you talked about your story and how it went viral? And how it was as if you were beginning the brand from scratch. So many people gravitating to you, asking questions, going back and forth, watching videos and stuff like that. Why? Because she had always wanted to be this coach, and she had it, and she knew who she wanted, but it was not, people didn't know the story. And it's very possible that in her journey, when we were beginning, she didn't even, maybe she felt it is not worth it to even say the story. So, I say a story, and then all of a sudden people look at me as if, you know, there's something wrong with me. You know, there is nothing wrong with you. Everything that happened in your life is normal. Do you know how many people have gone through it? Zillions. So when you speak, they understand what you are talking about. If you have ever been broke, and all of a sudden you went through the transformation, I think you've listened to my story, and then you tell them, never in your life have you ever been broke. Broke is even a word that belongs where. You get it? And then you're like, you know what? If there is such a thing as that transition, okay, I would want to have the same, because I am where she was 25, 30 years ago, and clearly she has told me I can even be better than her. Because if I am here and I am mentoring you into crafting your own brands, if for me I just bumped and fell into the ditches and rose again and no one was there to guide me, that means you have the ability to be way better than me, to make more money than me, to travel more nations than me, to impact more people than me, and to look way better and way younger. So you have no excuse for looking old. Wanji? You have no excuse of you have no excuse of being broke, because you have the roadmap. It's not until you just refuse and say, you know what, I'm not going to. So every day ask yourself, whenever you feel like you are broke, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you're the reason I am broke. Like there is no any other reason. There is no witchcraft. There is no auntie who is antagonizing me. There is no husband who is holding me back. You are the reason why I am broke. So who do you need to rebuke? You need deliverance from yourself. Deliverance from yourself. Yeah. But that is true. All right? So it informs us of your unique selling proposition. What makes you different from others? What makes me different from others is when I fell in the ditches of creating my own brand, of finding my way to being a coach, of finding my way into the speaking world without any guidance, I picked lessons from that, and from those lessons, I was like, never again will someone ever walk without help. Yeah? I will provide myself. I will avail myself. I will do everything necessary to get all the accreditations to make sure that I am able to help a person narrow down their journey to becoming who they want to become. So now it's so easy for someone to see what I have done when they go 20 years back and they see that I've done this consistently for all these years, and they're like, you know what, if it is possible to stay long in this game like this, then I think I need her to help. Okay? So it positions you in the market. Okay? And then a great brand story builds emotional connection. It builds trust. It builds relatability. It makes your brand memorable and influential. A great brand story. Because we never forget stories. Every time someone asks you, but why do you follow that woman? You will always have a story. Yeah? Have you listened to her? Let me send you one of her videos. But why do you listen to that man? Do you know who he is? You know, this and this and this and this and this. And then people will be like, I think I better go. Because some people, let me tell you, the world is distracted. Sometimes we think what we know, other people know. So when you are talking about your mindset, when you're talking to a corporate women, when you're talking to women over 50 in fitness, when you are dealing with food and catering, you know, when you are dealing with the men, when you're dealing with the single mothers and the parenting, sometimes we think the world knows. Let me tell you, we are in an age where we are overflown and overflooded with information, but people know nothing. Nothing. So that means I don't even expect you to create new content every day. There is power in repetition. Repeat your story. Say it again. Say it again in Lugbara. say it again in Luganda, say it again in popular English, say it again in difficult English, but find a way of telling the same story over and over and over again. Because sometimes a new person is listening to you and you're like, but last year I shared my story. My friend, we were not with you then. Can you share it today? Find a way of sneaking it into your videos. While you're shooting your videos, 5 minutes videos, or 20 minutes videos, or 3 minutes videos, when you start and you tell us what you went through in relation to what you're talking about, and you give us the lesson and how to go about it, already I am drawn. I'm like, where is the rest of the story? And then I will become, I'm like, sometimes you'll even hook them and you're like, if you want to hear the full story, yeah, the right story, the comment story, I send you a link. And then you send them your YouTube link. And then you have more people subscribing. Do you see how it's not hard? But repeat your story again and again. How many of us have ever followed Lisa Nichols? Lisa Nichols? My goodness, I got I got tired of the story of $1. Is it $1? With Steve Harvey, every set she goes to. But that is her brand story. And when she says it, she will have fresh tears. On every set. Even on her YouTube videos. You get it? But you will be drawn more for her. You will understand the resilience. You will understand why she does the things that she does. You will understand her momentum, okay? And every time, by the way, it does not just fuel other people, it fuels you. Every time I say my story, it reminds me of where I do not want to go back. Yeah? And so, that means I gain more energy to run even as faster. If I was distracted, believe me, after speaking to a big audience and maybe there is a bit of distraction and self-sabotage of some, when I speak about my story, I'm like, you know what? Who am I lying to? I should stay. If I was somewhere in this journey and I was resting and even putting my legs up, I'm like, no, Hilda, it is not time to put your legs up. It is time to still run. And I remind myself that it is time to run away from poverty. Like I started when I was, you know how you start with a lot of strength? You don't even wait for get on your marks. Or fubu tukabu fubu to see. Even when you're getting away from distraction, or fubu tukabu fubu to see. And you're like, you know what? No. Poverty cannot catch up with me. No. Yeah? So you remind yourself. So the roadmap to creating a brand, before we even go through it, because you must decide how you want to start in your brand and explore and get comfortable with your brand voice. But get clarity. Clarify your brand identity. Define your mission, your values, your strengths and all that. Make sure that you establish your unique selling proposition. Make sure that you know your target audience. We have gone through all that, but clarity is very key. Okay? Number 2, craft your brand story. I want you to go back and map your journey. Yeah? Some of you are like, oh, I don't remember my brand story. You remember. The only thing is you have not called it to the front. I need you to have it at the back of your mind, to have it on your fingertips. At every least moment you can be able to say it. Write a book, speak at events, collaborate with influencers and experts, get featured on media. You can even ask for media interviews. Yeah, ask people if you have anything, any question related to this. But sometimes give them the reason to invite you. Yeah, because you are, whenever you deliver your messages, you are in the neutral zone. You're like, it's okay. Okay, if it beats you, you can decide. But it's okay to stay a little longer while you see how things are going. I am not giving you my media platform to talk about anything. You're misguiding us, my friend. Or you're not yet decided what you want to do. But the moment you not even go extreme, but you call a spade, your brand will never survive, not even survive, but thrive in a neutral mode. It will never. So when you talk about mindset, hit where it hurts. Yeah? People are foolish Galatians. You're not the one who invented the word. The Bible invented the word. Yeah? So how foolish can you be to stand in your own way? You know? Get right. Find a way, because let me tell you, people will never listen to you for as long as you're in the neutral. You know, okay, guys, let's go through 10 points of how to rectify your mindset. I am dozing. Yeah? But if you're telling me why your mindset is keeping you broke, and it will keep you broke for the whole of 2025, my friend, I'm awake. Because I don't want to be broke. That is too huge a word. I don't want to be broke. So how is my mindset keeping me broke? Especially in this year. You're not talking about last year, but you're talking about this year. Gwetwaka tandika? Oli mulogo. Why would you be a prophet of doom when the year is just starting? Do you know that such headings are the ones that are getting more viewership? Yeah? Someone lifts a cup of whatever it is, concoction, it is yellow in color, they pour it in another cup, and they're like, if you drink this for 7 days, your friends are going to wonder whether you got a liposuction. Hey, you go to comment section, and then they're like, you comment drink, or comment ingredients, and you are thousands of people are commenting concoctions. And guess what? He's responding to none. There is no response, there is no link, there is no answer, there is no ingredients. Guess what? He will come back tomorrow with a concoction in red. And it will be in a cup. His face will be covered by an inch of the cup, and then he will have and he will have maybe someone buy those messages. You can write them anywhere. Right? You can reply to yourself on social media. You screenshot it as what do they call it? What do they call it? As feedback, right? Yeah. And then you tag the feedback up here. Oh my God, when I took it for 7 days, I couldn't believe myself. I lost 20 kgs in 7 days. Now he has put the feedback. And then all of a sudden he's saying, please don't take this daily because you will lose too much weight. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, let me tell you, the world is gullible. Like, it is gullible. But meanwhile, we are here in the neutral position of God will help you. You know, Katunda yamba be yamba. You know, no. Understand the psychology of the functionality of people and give them what they want. When you give them what they want, the moment you call a spade, I would tell them, if he is doing this, manipulating you, gaslighting you, and he's turning tables on you, and that is what people are actually facing in their homes. And now, every time you meet a woman, Bahati tomanche wankolida. Tomanyi che wankolida. Tomanyi mukazi gwe. Na emyaka 10 egiwedde. Olowooza wandibadde wanda bakosawo. Nandibadde nkyali wonze. And you meet a woman, and sometimes you meet men, and they're like, you know what? As in, you highlighted a lot in my life. There are people I've met, told you about the washing bay. You go to a washing bay, someone does not even know how you look, but they know how you sound. When you speak or laugh, and they're like, that's Bahati. And like, so you didn't know my face, but you knew my voice. And they're like, you don't know how much you helped me. I would listen to you every single day. And your words have helped me build a business, hire people. And they're telling you, you know what? Don't pay for the washing bay for the next 2 months. You know, every time your car comes here, let them just wash it. And they're like, I was a student. I was just growing. Do you know how many relationships you saved me from? Do you know how you spelled the truth and it was hurting, but it helped me live an narcissistic relationship? All right? We want to be transformational brands. We do not want to be brands that are just soft and covering up and leaving people in their own in their own shambles. All right? So position yourself, monetize your brand. I want to go through this very quickly because again I have other things that I prepared and we are going to go through them, okay? And so monetize your brand and then create a scalable mode. But I want us to go back to the brand, okay? I want us to go back to the brand where we talked about you are the brand because here we were just talking about the roadmap, okay? Now, that is the roadmap. But I sent something on your phone, Trailblazers. You will look at it later. But I want us to very briefly talk about product. Because if we talk about brand, then we need to be able to talk about product. Because it's the product that is going to move anyway. All right? And now, when I started, I discovered that there were different products that I had to be able to set up. And some of these were physical services, like the one-on-ones, the group coachings, okay? And then there were the digital services. That is the courses and all that, yeah? Online sessions and all that. And then the physical products, like the books, the merchandise and all that. And then the digital products. So you realize that you have to be able to master, to understand what all those things are. Are you giving one-on-one? Are you creating products? Are you selling merchandise? Okay? Are you creating digital products? Okay, so that you can be able to turn on the taps. That now I've written a book, I have turned on that tap. That is a stream of income. That, oh, I have one-on-one sessions and I'm promoting them and I am turning on that tap. Or that now I have actually a digital product, I have a course that I have created. The moment you have products that you're putting out there, let me tell you, it will be very hard for you to sleep. Because you will, every time money is not coming or people are not booking, you'll be asking yourself, what is exactly happening? Yeah, so I want us to hit the ground running, because product, it has to be a product of value. So I want you to create a product of value. As a brand, create a product of value. If it is a book, please don't write a book that, you know, people have no business reading. Write a book that you will, if you don't understand what value is, at least have someone else read that book so that they can tell you. And give people that have honest feedback. Because there are some people who will tell you, oh my God, this is a very nice book. Na yenga, there is no content. Like no content. And sometimes people make it so hard to give feedback. Yeah, even me sometimes, it has been so hard to give people feedback. Because you're like, how dare me? Yeah? Give feedback. Someone took their writing a book. But let me tell you, it's better for someone to give you the truth, okay? So it has to be very, very, very valuable. And value, let's go through value very quickly. Value, there is perceived value, okay? There is someone looking at something and it's just valuable. Some of you have looked at some of these, for example, some of these new either saloons or influencers or something like that. Like there is perceived value. They have taken charge of their narrative, that now how they take pictures, where they go, who they meet and what they do. So now you feel like you are attaching so much value to them. But when you meet them in their actual lives, they are normal human beings who are more stuck than you. Yes. More poor than you. But they have managed their narrative so well. Now, I just don't want us to manage narrative. I want us to be authentic in our narrative, okay? Not authentic of, be yourself, deliver what you have, make it better, show up better the next day and the other day, okay? So that you do not live in an illusion or in discrepancy. Because it hurts. That is why some people never come out to the public. They have created so much perceived value, but the real value is not there. So they're like, like some people have created so much beautifying of themselves, yeah, on the lenses. No, when you meet them in person, you're like, oh yeah, gundi. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, so value can be perceived, it can be functional, it can be aesthetic. There are things that we have been drawn to and they're just, you know, flawless. And then value can be social, it can be emotional, it can be historic, it can be sentimental. I want you to look at all those values and ask yourself, the product that I am creating, okay? And sometimes when it comes to perceived value, do you know sometimes perception sometimes is in the people that receive. For example, when I created Deliberately Selfish, the kind of reception it received on the market, okay? That everyone that was not reading Deliberately Selfish was feeling like they were missing out on something. I don't know whether you have ever felt something about that. Like there is a cloth company, if you're not putting on their clothes, you feel like you're missing out on something. Like here in Kampala, you're like, Vivo is in Kampala. And people are putting on Vivo. You're like, I would want to put on Vivo. I would want to put on Wire. I would want, because maybe they have, you know, used influencers. So I need you to be able to review your products and the ones that you're currently creating, because you should be in a creating mode right now as a brand. You should be in a building mode, in a creating mode. Explore the products that you want to create. What would I want to create? Do I want to create a journal? Do I want to create a book? Do you want, and one thing, a warning, I want you to create something that connects with you. I want you to create something that has so much value for you. Because when you speak about it, you will smile. When you speak about it, it will be believable. Some of us are creating products because others are creating products. And then when it comes to selling and marketing, we feel shy about them. And sometimes we ask ourselves, oh, what was I thinking when I was creating this? Like 2 months after now, you look back and you're like, I should have done better. Like, seriously, what is this that I actually wrote? Yeah? Why? Because you were in comparison with other people. So do something that connects with you, directly with you. All right? And then turn all the 4 taps. All the 4 taps that we talked about. The physical services, the digital services. The physical products, the digital products. All those are streams of income. And you realize that from all of them, there are actually so many things that you can be able to do. So many things that you can be able to do. Okay, so I need you to take that seriously, and then define the value points. Okay, define the value points in your brand. Ensure each product offers a tangible, something you can touch, something you can feel, and then find and articulate the value of your brand. That's why I said it has to be something that you believe in, something that is connected with you, and something that you are willing to put out there. For example, now it is not just the 4, because, for example, right now I'm a broadcaster, and a broadcaster is different from a media personality, okay? And then I'm an author. I earn money through that, through writing books. I speak. Speaking is different from training, yeah? So I do executive training and I do speaking, and then I do one-on-ones even when I'm phasing that out, and then I have the group coachings, and that group coaching is different from mentorship, okay? And then that is different from courses as well. So you realize that you can have more than 10 things that you are looking at to be able to grow, to be able to create the brand that you need to be able to create, okay? So I don't want you to say, but hey, what exactly am I doing? There are so many things. Look at the business that you're doing. That business, for example, you can be called upon to speak to business people. And I think you've spoken to business people, small business owners before. So you are speaking, but you already have a business. And then you can be in content creation. Other people can be able to hire you to influence for their businesses. Can be a makeup company, can be even a cloth company. For example, Shane can decide and say, you know what, we've seen what she does and we would want her to influence for our brands. If you can be able to pull off the audience and the things that they actually need from you, okay? So I need you to also look at that very, very critically, okay? So let's go on and then create a product to make money while you sleep. Now that is a digital product. Digital product, you put in the effort, okay? And all of a sudden, for example, I've been selling for the past 6 years, I've been selling recovery from narcissistic abuse. That is one of my best-selling products. But I don't talk about it every day. I have spent 2 years without promoting it, but it is still a bestseller because most of the people that got to know me in the field of high conflict relationships, okay? So it is still on the top list of my earnings. Just like deliberately selfish. Not the hard paper, but the, what is it called? The ebook. It is actually on the list of high-selling people. But I'm not going to rewrite it again. So that means I'm now just earning money out of it. Yeah? And right now I have a request to write a practical guide to deliberate selfish living. And I've embarked on that journey. It's coming out in May. And so you realize that when you create a course, apart from going back to refine it and update it, you're not creating it again. But you're still earning money from it, okay? So, in a nutshell, your brand should be something that you actually earn from. Once you have talked about, you have dealt with all the things that we talked about, make sure that you know exactly what to deal with, okay? And in this system, most of the times, we will face a lot of scarcity mindset, and then we will face rejection sometimes when we start doing those businesses. But I will tell you, rejection is just in your head. Once you persist and you believe so much in what you are doing, even those that rejected it will come for it after some time. So you just need to persist and not look at the fears and the doubters and the people that do not believe. For as long as you believe in it, that you know what, I'm giving the most value. And you know when you're giving value, you know it. So I want you to ask yourself, am I really giving as much value as possible? Okay? And then let's go to money. Yeah, because money is something, when you talk about personal branding, there is no way we cannot talk about money. Yeah? And money has three elements. We have the past, the present, and the future. And those are the belief systems that we hold in our minds. For me, the topic of money interests me so much. So much. Why? Because if we have refined beliefs, then we are able to earn more than we ever anticipated. So for the past, that means we have the old programming, the guilt and the shame, the survival. And when you are living in guilt and shame, you can never ask for money. When you will always cut on your prices. When someone asks you, you set your price as 50 or as 100 for an individual session, and then all of a sudden when someone calls you, you're like, okay, I can do it for 20. Oh, I can do it for 30. Or even free. Yeah? So you see what happens because you have guilt around money and you feel ashamed to ask for money, so you're not going to ask for money. Or you will ask for less money than you actually deserve. And then the present is focus, emotion. Focus. Put emotion to it. That is money management, accumulation. Now, that is what you should be able to do in right now. Because there are different stages that we all live at. The stages of money. Some of us are in survival mode. That is number one. Some of us are in stabilization mode, that is number 2. Some of us are in management mode, that is number 3. Some of us are in accumulation, that is number 4. And some of us are in investment. Okay, I don't want to write because it's going to take me so long, it will take us so long. So that's why I preferred I just talk about these things. So you realize survival, you're in debt, yeah? And stress every time, guilt and shame all the time. When you talk about stabilization, we're talking about, you know, you're just surviving, barely seeing the next day. You're like, how? Olwaliro banaluitamu, mukama nakuyamba noluitamu. Olwaliro lugwa. Oba bana banaddayo ku ssomero, mukama nakuyamba ne baddayo. Bana lero rent yo bana asasula. Bananga omusajja oyo sagala jandeekanire. So you're actually in survival mode. When you go to hospital, you're like, oh, oba bill banaleta ya mmeka bannange. We've all been there, yeah? Oba bill banaleta, n'otandika okweraliikirira bill. N'otandika n'okwogera amafuku, eddwaliro lino, naye nga wagenzeeyo olabayo. Eddwaliro lino, babeeranga abalowooza nti tuzinoga ku muti, ani yakututteyo. Ebibozibozi bya survival, binyiiza. Yeah, n'otandika comparing. Kale erubaga, kale bw'otunula n'emmengo, kale n'otunula n'ogamba naye ofa ki? Survival. Survival. Because there is a level you will get at. A level you will get at, and you will never have any single. And by the way, if you're a woman and you're here, I want you to get to that level as well. When you're not just depending. Let me tell you, there is nothing I hate in this world as depending on someone. Okay? Those moments come, right? We've all been through that. That is the pathway to getting to where we want to get. But when you leave the survival mode, and you leave the stabilization, and you leave the accumulation, the management, and you get to investment, or you get to a level of where, you know, for example, all my pregnancies have been hard, very difficult, high-risk pregnancies. And I know for sure there is no way I'm getting out of the hospital under 15 millions every time I go to give birth. But guess what? I'm always counting on him to take care of us. But I know, should he not come through, or there is something that has destabilized, I'm always coming through. You get it? And There is no single day he has ever failed. There is a way, when money survives, you feel like, when money survives, you're like, okay, it was there, but you know, but that's what I'm saying, because when you come into a union, it's about helping each other. Right? It's about stepping in when someone at their point of weakness, or at their point, especially business, when you are married to a business person, you never know where the ship is going. Yeah? Today they overinvest and they drain everything, and tomorrow there is all the money in the world. And you're like, so what are we going to do? Yeah? So I need you to understand where you are. Ask yourself, where am I? Am I in survival mode? Am I in stabilization? Stabilization is survival. And then management is really, you know, like, it's a bit, you're fighting for security. Eh? You're just fighting for security. And then accumulation, that means you are directing your money. You're setting goals for your money. You want your money to be able to make sense, all right? And then in investment, you're actually in a mode where money begets money. Money gives birth to money. You invest it and it brings more income. So I want to ask yourself, where are you on these stages of money? Because at present, you have to be able to focus. You have to be able to add on the emotion, money management and accumulation. That is what you should be doing right now. That when money comes, you know, sometimes you never look at what is even coming. You even don't know. It is when you have a need and you're like, roughly, you know that there is money somewhere and you know that it is enough. You don't need to worry. And let me tell you, that's a good place, right? Yeah, so I need you to get to that place. And then the future is value, balance, direction, growth, investment. The future is value, it is balance, it is direction, it is growth, and it is investment. And let me tell you, that is a good place to be. That is a good place to be. That is where you smell the freedom. Yeah? That is where you are not just tied to something. That is where even when you are selling, you are not selling from a point of lack. You know when someone is selling from a point of lack on social media? It's like the person that came to me, I told you about my story at Nambole. When someone says, "Banange binona bije UK kubibaguza, bwe mutabigula sigenda kuva wano." You know? And you're like, "Oh, wange katumuguleko because kirabika bambi kiri bubi." You get it? And I prefer okuwagira omuntu akola instead of someone that who is not working. But I will tell you, there is nothing as sweet as knowing that your children can go to any school. There is nothing as sweet as knowing that you can create products from the abundance of your heart and not from the need of wanting to sell and push and, you know, and push it into people's throats. There you deliver so much value. So much value because you come from abundance. You come from experience. You come from I have, and it's not that I need, okay, but I want to be able to be significant. That is the point of significance, where you can even give to people that you know will never give back. That is where you're able to hold other people's hands. That's where you're able to give without expectation. Why? Because you are living your future self now. Let me tell you, that is very possible. Very possible. And I'm telling you this because I am living that life. Okay? So, I need you to be able to understand where are you. And so what you need to do at this stage in money, you need to confront your old stories and emotions around money. Confront them. Stop avoiding guilt and shame. Stay present with your money. Stay present with the guilt. Stay present. Focus plus added emotions. Okay? Make sure that you actually focus. Because if you keep running, do you know the people that keep running? They want to be helped by someone. You know, so-and-so is the one who didn't help you, who didn't help me. So-and-so is the one. Let me tell you, the moment I discovered that my life is in my own hands, yeah, I didn't give anyone a priority, not an uncle, not an auntie, no one. And they know me. Recently I was with my dad, and my dad told me, yeah, you know, there are people who sent me your video and, you know, they were saying, but banange. And then I told them, but you contact Hilda, don't you have her number? And then I was telling Tim, do you think they can contact me? They can't. They can't. Yeah? Because they know it's none of their business. Because they know it's my life. And because they know I've never gone to beg from anyone. And because they know I've taken charge of my life. Okay? And they know where we come from. They know the kind of poverty. They know the kind, and I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to be the one that shrinks myself to go everywhere, begging, starting what, at I need to do what, at I need to do what. I was like, as a young girl, it's me and me. My mother is nowhere. I mean, I can count on her for nurturing, for loving me, for praying over me. But again, the working and all that and taking care of the home, I have to be able to step up as a firstborn. And when I stepped up, I never looked back. And even right now, you know, someone will think, oh, she's settled. No, I'm not settled. I am still running as fast as I can. My friend, ninga kawewo. You know, just like I told you recently, how Tim looked at me and was like, if there is anything I can learn from you, the power of consistency. As in, we will leave somewhere, or maybe a party or something, and I have class. Those classes at 8. And you'll be like, hey. So you're also going to do a class. When you get into the bedroom or get into home office, you lock yourself, and you're like, and you're like, hey. Excuse I'm like, but as in, and he knows that I am not doing this because, oh, there's something too much to get from me. It was something like that. I'm like, you know what? There are certain things that I got tired, and one of them is giving excuses. I got tired of that. So if we are building brands, ask, are you in past? Are you in present? Are you in the future? Ask yourself. Look at your money every day. Every day. If you have 20,000, if you have 50,000, wegambe nti zino zenina mu bulamu zino. Should there be need for anything more than this, that means I can actually not help myself. So, obuntu bulamu bulungi. But bw'okuma obuntu bulamu because ogamba bannange bwe nabeera obubi tebajja kumbeererawo. That means you're actually forcing something, right? You should be able to, naturally, even when you have ngoli muntu mulamu, as in sentence, should never change you. You should remain who you, with the same hunger. You get the money, but you have the same hunger for growth. You have the same hunger for expansion. You have the same hunger for prayer. You have the same hunger for growth. That is what consistency in brand building actually looks like, okay? So, and then look at your date every day. Don't avoid it. Look at it every day so that it can remind you that, even to say yeah, because avoiding some of these things is what is causing problems, okay? And then give your money direction and intention. Your money direction and intention. Not everything that falls, let me tell you, abantu bakumanyi, the people that supply you with clothes, the people that, there is a way, when you have money, that is when you see all the Instagram posts that promote the things that you want. Sometimes tuberanga abaloge. Let me tell you, you have to learn to say no. And say, I actually have that money, but it is not for that use. That means it has intention and it has direction. You know where you want it to go. And by the way, to the extent, sometimes I will take it off myself. I am not so good with cash. I know myself. So I will fix my accounts. I do everything in my power to make sure that there is a shortage of cash on me. To the extent, I'll even give it to the front desk manager. I'll be like, Alabaka message, it has come to her phone. And then she comes up, Madam, obadde ogambachi. Agamba nti, sina nnyo bwetaavu bwazo naye zigira zibeera ku simu yo. Because bwe zibeera okwange. Yeah, nendaba ekintu. Nga ndi ku Ujiji. Nga ndi ku Joma. Bayita batya? Jumia. Simanyi blender. You have like 3 blenders. And you're looking at another inaka shiny, you know, kagundi no gamba nti bannange blend eyo obe nerabika etya mu maka gange. So you should know yourself, by the way. You should. The clothes you have are enough. Yeah? Dress well, and then make budgets for when you need to add on and be intentional. I think intentional buying of clothes actually sets you apart and gives you good taste in clothes than buying kwara kwara. You will find your bedroom filled with clothes that you're no longer putting on, but you're still buying. And then when someone who has clothes, when they bring gaviranga ganene wegati, and then they show you this one and they show, oh my God, everything is good. And then it's okay, you'll give me tomorrow, no problem. They have left you with 30 pieces of clothes. Some of you, if you have washing people, they wash them and you don't even know whether all clothes came back. Because you don't know them. Yeah? But you're still buying. And in your head, you're like, you know what, now, can I get a content creation? I will need quite a change of clothes, but ask me how many videos you have shot. You're buying blouses for video, you're buying things for video, but you're not shooting video. What is happening? Okay, so set clear pricing base, okay, with equal exchange, identify your value problems so you can fix them. Identify your value problems. Refine your product. Refine your coaching program. Refine your book. Refine the way you look. Refine your presentation skills. What are my value? They have invited me. They have invited you so many times. They want you to present with PowerPoints, with what? But whenever you appear, there is a way you are just running away from PowerPoints. You come and give excuses. I was coming and my laptop, blacked out. Simani, I was coming and my did what? Because you are avoiding something. And guess what? You're just lazy. Just lazy. So refine, go back and look at your value problems. Let's go to business. I want us to be able to wind up, yeah? Because our time is far gone. Let's go to business. Business is equal exchange of value. You cannot talk about brand and you don't talk about the brand. You don't talk about the product. You don't talk about money and you don't talk about business. And here, the fact is, if it is costing you money to do business, it is charity or a hobby, not a business. So make sure that you create your structures. Make sure that you create your structures. We are putting ourselves out there with a dollar sign, with a shilling sign. Eh? That means you must be valuable, okay? You must be valuable. When some value starts with even just looking at you. Yeah? Wakwoti in the 1 million, and then you appear like you were uncoordinated. Right? Please don't. Put yourself together. Let the aura around you be totally different. So create structure for managing your money. Yeah? Create structure for managing your money. And then learn the cost of goods sold. Learn the cost of goods sold and the cost of doing business. Because sometimes why we charge the kind of money that we charge or we charge less is because we actually have not created a structure. Yeah? So let's learn to create a structure. The cost of doing business. That is something that you should know. What is it costing me to do business? I remember when I just started, when I needed to price myself for speaking engagements, I'll be like, you know what? Because back then I was just curating my wardrobe, and it was an era of impression. Eh? This era of me, my friend, you have fallen into my gaps. This is not an era of this is an era of freedom, yeah? This is an era of maximum freedom. So if I come here in shorts with bling bling, you just chill. You just chill. But I would look at, okay, what am I going to put on? This is how much it costs. How much money am I going to use to that place if if fuel or whatever it is, and then I have to be able to count my own value. By the time they demanded for Bahati, there are so many people in Uganda that they could have invited. By the time they demanded Bahati, clearly there must be a margin that only goes to the name Bahati. And it is not a small margin. Yeah? So that is not the cost of dressing, that is not the cost of fuel, but the margin, Bahati, should be something that is substantial. Unless I just wanted to do a pro bono service, or I just want, for example, when people call me to churches or youths, there is a way my heart just goes out, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to give you my red card, okay? But at least you have to be able to take care of my crew, you have to be able to take care of my fuel, you have to be able to take care of my appearance. Because when they call you to a church, definitely it's you have to dress the part. Man, now me, I'm here in bling bling, and so that means when I'm invited to a church, I have to think. I'm like, you know what? Like every time I'm invited to the State House, I look at my clothes and I'm like, okay. Until I was like, you know what? It's all the same. I will have my freedom for as long as I am decent. And I'll be like, hey, all these things, like, I have so many things that are not coordinated. Church, State House, those big bashes, and I'm like, you know what? And definitely I will attend for a few minutes, and I'll be like, you know what? This kind of criteria. But let's invite Honorable so-and-so, and then you're there, and then you're tired, and like, you know, so bigger tagatabyonna. And I decide, you know what? Clearly, some things are not for me. But how do you get to that place of deciding some things are not for you? Is after you have gone through the criteria, is after you have paid the price, is after you have done everything repeatedly, and now you can be able to say, for example, when you don't have choice of food, when they give you everything, you eat. But there comes a time, for example, you look at food, and in all the food you're like, you know? So as we age, we also go through some of those things. Yeah, a piece of chicken. Yesterday I was at Akwanjula, and you know, they were just serving because they were like, you know, let's serve them. So they served and they put the food, and then I realized I could only eat one piece of chicken. And the whole food was spoiled. I remember, why did you put on the food? Like, we had to give you special treatment. And the whole food went back. So that means in growth, there are so many things we get to eliminate. Okay? So I need you to price yourself, okay? For example, for me, it has, just like I have said, the margins are totally different. The margins are investment. I need to be able to reinvest. So whenever I'm charging anyone, I'm thinking about reinvesting in the business. And then right now that the company is registered and running, that means I have to think about tax. Yeah, that's the other thing. So if I'm negotiating how much you as a company is going to pay me, I have to be able to talk about tax, okay? So I have to be able to talk about, to know how much is going to the name Bahati, to legacy Bahati. I have to be able to know that. So I need you to be able to look at your framework. What exactly do you need? Do you have a company? Do you need to reinvest? You reinvest by putting on, you reinvest by buying gadgets, a good phone for content creation. You reinvest by all those things. Yeah, if you're not yet paying tax, that is different. But there should be something to your name that you can put in savings, that you can be able to invest later, but when your business is actually going on, okay? So ask yourself, am I in balance or out of balance? Am I in balance or out of balance? Setting pricing that allows for your income in the profit margin. Don't set your pricing that is all being swallowed up, yeah, in the creation of whatever it is that you are giving in. Set it in a way that it has a profit margin. So I need you to also take care of that. All right? I think we will have to start there some other time, but I need you to take note when it comes to the personal brand. Okay? Have the clarity. Know the products that you are giving. Okay? And make sure that those products are created with love and they are connected to you. Do not give out anything that is not connected to you. When it comes to the money as the value metric, make sure that you ask yourself, which stage am I in of money? And then ask yourself, am I in the past, in the present, in the future? Ask yourself, am I setting pricing according to an equal exchange? Ask yourself, is my price margin with a profit? Ask yourself all those things. When it comes to business, make sure that you understand the cost of doing business and make sure that you price yourself accordingly to or according to profitability, and make sure that you give as much as you receive. Guys, we are giving value. With our brands, we are giving value. We want these brands to be valuable. We want these brands to be lasting. You don't want to just set a brand that is going to live momentarily and then it will vanish. No, you want to have that 20 years from now, you will look back to this moment and you'll be like, this was an investment. Time, energy, everything. This was an investment. And guess what? There's going to be profit on this investment. A lot of profit on this investment. So next time we will talk about service and system and marketing and you as the brand.